no, it's not. You can either choose to do it within the Netherlands, or you can, of course, go anywhere around the world. And one thing I always say that as long as it's safe, as long as it's within the safe zone, and for Saxion, since you're still a student of Saxion, if you're going anywhere else, do your internship. So like if you go to some country that is labeled as not safe, then there's a high chance that they will suggest you to not go there. To be more precise, I myself is applying in the Netherlands, so for sure it is a choice for you to stay within the Netherlands during your internship. Cool, maybe you want to give Lucas the choice to ask a question, because he's been raising his hand for a while.
Yeah, he already raised his hand a few minutes ago.
Thank you. So my second question is, how much business finance and accounting is actually involved in the study, and to what level?
Yeah, you can see it as pretty basic. So
Okay.
I don't know what your experience is at this point with business and the financial side of business.
I've done quite a bit. I've done a full year on it, but it was one of the subjects that was very hard for me, so that's why I'm trying to avoid it.
Yeah. So as an example, we do have basic courses where you need to know the basics about business economics, where you should be able to understand a balance sheet and understand a profit and loss statement. But it's always from the perspective of an HRM professional. So that means that you should be able to understand it and should be able to talk through it with a financial professional, but you should not be able to make it or to know the specifics, how one and the second and the third adds up to the fourth, for instance. So there's not a lot of actual die-hard calculation involved or die-hard financial analysis.
Okay, that's very, very good to know. Thank you.
Yeah, and if it helps, ironically, I'm also not good with finance. So throughout the whole process, I really had to come up to the teacher quite often. So I think that regardless of your worries, the teacher will be there to help you, because mine did.
Thank you. Great, thanks.
Yes. Hi, Ted. There is a practical quarter in the second year. So it's like at the end of the second year, in the final quarter, we have a practical quarter in which we have like cases where we will work with real company. So for us, for our year, we worked with Apple Fredestein, and the year before they worked with IKEA. So it's like actual people who came in and asked to work with us. And I also had to go through like a basics, hiring process and how to recruit some people. It's not like real because that can involve with a lot of issues. So we have some stimulation with that. So the practical quarter is basically just like giving you the basic skills of doing stuff in HR. And there are follow-up courses in the third year where you will continuously work with real company, and then real cases they work with you, and you will actually have to go through this meeting. So I say the practical quarter is like a baseline to prepare you for the third year as well.
I think I also saw a question from Natalie. She asked if there would be any dorms available during the studies. From my personal experience, and that's because I've also studied before here in Enschede, there are different websites, etc., that you can log on to find these dorms. I think it's not provided by the study itself. but that's on own initiative. And maybe Cordelia, you could, maybe explain it from your perspective how that went.
For me, since I'm an international student, when I connect with the international office, they remind me that, okay, I can either choose to look for a place on my own, or I can connect with them and ask for a dormitory to stay for a year. For European student and Dutch student, I'm not really sure, but I know that you can ask the international office in case you say that, okay, I really cannot find a place to stay by that time. So is it possible to sign up for a dormitory? Because I know for sure that there are certain housing, like ones that right next to Saxion or one that across the house I'm living right now. So yeah, it's best to connect with the school because usually the rooms in those housings are reserved for either international students who have way less access to finding a place to stay before they come here, or exchange student with the same issue. And for Kim,
yeah, I added the link, Natalie, to the international office contact form where you could contact them.
How to say it? I think the human coaching side. Hi Kim, I'm sorry. So you have a question about the coaching side of the study. I think this is something that goes throughout the whole process, but personally, I feel like I am more being coached than I'm actually coaching others, since we've only had the coaching course this quarter. So I would say it's not such a huge part of you being a coach throughout your study, but more like the feeling of being coached from your teachers. So during the first semester of the third year and the whole practical quarter, the teacher is no longer teachers, but they identify themselves as mentors and coaches. So they help you with like business case, and when you have questions, you go to them. And lectures are quite reduced by then. And so I would say I don't really know what percentage there might be, because again, ironically, I'm not good with numbers. But I know for sure business financial part is not such a huge part in it, but it is involved, since you have to work with organizations that involve with both human side and business side. So there isn't really a clear distinction between, but more like you work with both parts.
If I really have to come up with percentages, I would guess a little bit like 50% is the core, the HRM. And you have a quarter which is more focused on the coaching personal skills, 25%, the other 25% more the business financial side. I think that would be my estimation if we look at our current curriculum. Okay, let's see. I think Lucas already raised his hand for a while.
Yeah.
So
I just have a question on when the actual application deadline is.
Sorry if I'm making some assumption, but if you're a EU student or a Dutch student, then I think the deadline would be at the end of June or the beginning of July.
Okay.
Well, technically, you can also apply it until like really, really late, like the end of August. But yeah, we don't really recommend that because that's technically like less than a few days before the semester starts.
Yeah,
so
of course,
the sooner the better. Yeah, the deadline is somewhere around December. Yeah.
I will post it, the site where you can find this, Lucas.
Yeah.
And for Ted, what minors can you follow for this program? I don't get to choose. I'm sorry for saying that, but we don't get to choose what minors. They already have a designed minors for us, so that's why we call it a fixed minor. And it focuses mainly on human resource development. And as Kun said before, it's like a really focused minor on developing the students so that we have the same base knowledge. and to be able to competitive with also other students from different school when we look for our internship, for our thesis, and probably afterwards for our like real job. Yeah. Wait, I think Ted is being disconnected.
Yeah, maybe we can answer that question as soon as he's back.
Yeah. And for Liz Marline, I'm so sorry for pronunciation. The minimum degree of English, I would say you don't necessarily have to be a C1. This is a bit difficult because for me, I have the TOEFL test because I'm a non-EU student, and the minimum was 6.5 in IELTS, or I think so, yeah, 6.5 in IELTS. So I would say B1 would be suitable already. But technically, I wouldn't say you have to be worried so much about your English skill, because eventually when you're in the IHRM study, you will have to communicate with other students and teachers in English, and your written reports are all in English as well. So throughout the whole process, you really have to continuously develop your skills. And in the first year, there's also a course that called Written Communication that focuses solely on improving your vocabulary, your grammar, and how to write in English in a report. So they will help you a lot. So don't have to worry too much about your minimum skills in English. As long as you pass your English exam while you're in high school, then that should be enough.
Yeah.
How do you work? Mariana has a question. How do you work the most? I have a lot of group assignments. Honestly, I only have individual assignments when I was in the first year. And throughout the whole process from then on, it's mostly like group assignments or group projects, basically working with my friends all the time. And I think the main idea behind it is because we don't work alone when we are in HR, but we have to work with people, with our employees or with our superiors in the future, everything like that. So they want to focus a lot on group work and working with others people and help other people develop as well. So no, you don't get to work on your own a lot.
Yeah, the idea behind it that we work a lot together is basically that we looked at the 21st century skills. So the skills that are most important for professionals in the 21st century, and collaboration, working together, is one of the most important ones. And that's why we also designed the program like this, that working together, collaboration is an important aspect during the studies.
Yeah. Okay. Hi, Valo. There are courses in the university that you can learn Dutch. If you cannot make arrangement, then there is, I think, I don't remember the name precisely, but you can go to the student desk within Saxion and they will provide you with courses like either in the evening, in the morning, in the afternoon, however that suits you. Or if you can make the time, some of our students actually somehow being able to go to the business school in like in a different part of the building and ask for if they can join in one of their Dutch courses of the IBS student or IBL at the moment. I think there's some changes of the course name right now. And you can ask if you can join the classes for free. So that is an option because I did that. It's just that the schedule with my study is a little bit clash, so I couldn't join it for free. I hope that answers your question. Okay. Yeah.
I think we have one more question at the moment from Lise Marin. I hope that I pronounced it correctly. How many students are generally in a class? That varies. So, for instance, Cordelia, you were in a class during the labs. I think 45 students, something like that?
Yeah, I think yeah, you're right, it varies. Like in the first year, we have different classes that sometimes just go from 20 maximum students, that can go up to 40. But right now in the lab, since all the classes are together, we have like in total 43 or 44 students, I think. Yeah. But we all work together, and so there isn't really much difference. I don't know. I didn't feel much difference in that.
Because of the collaboration aspect in there, there's also a lot of room to sit back together with your project group and find some space somewhere on the university to work together in a smaller group, and then go back to the teacher to ask some questions, and then sit back again with your group to apply the feedback that you got. So there's different variations there. During the classes, sometimes it can go up to 40, but in practice, when you're working together, it's smaller groups.
Yeah. And to add into that, I think the classes are usually smaller if you're in a lecture, but if you're in more of a practical skill class where you have to work together and then you can go anywhere you want, then the class will be bigger, but you always have, like as Kuhn said, individual time with your teacher. So it would be the group work that's like 5 people maximum. Yeah.
I see that Joost, and I hope that I'm pronouncing it rightly, Ioana have a question. Joost, do you want to ask the question via the chat, or do you want to use the microphone? Yes.
Okay.
You can now use the microphone. So your mic is now on, Joost, so you can ask the question that you wanted to ask.
Yeah, hello, sorry.
Hi.
I was wondering if the classes would be with students from same country, or would it be completely randomized?
No, you don't really get students from the same country in the same class usually. I remember that my class in the first year would only have, I think, 1 or 2 Vietnamese students, and the rest are Bulgaria, Netherlands, Germany, and there's way more. I can't really remember because we have quite a diverse class. And of course, right now when we are having our minor, they make sure that there isn't too many students from the same nationality in the same class, because there are some projects where they have this request that if you're working in the same group or same dual, you don't have anyone from the same nationality as well, to make the group more diverse. Yeah.
All right, that's good. Thank you. That was my question.
To add to that, I had the opportunity to already have a brief look at the applications for next year until now, and it looks like it's even more so than we had before. It's a really broad variety of different nationalities and different cultures. So that's really interesting. At least I find it really interesting.
Okay, thank you.
Oh my God, I really hope I'm pronouncing your name right. Iona. About the accommodation, I personally have a rather mediocre experience with the accommodation here. So my place was really clean, and there are people sometimes come in to check with like how the how's everything going, how the light is, or if the kitchen is clean, which is like somewhere in the first year. They are still making some changes at the time and even until now. So when I was there, there's like a few months when we struggle with the Wi-Fi. At least it's only my building, because my friend's building, like right by it, was fine. So it's a really somewhat of a luck chance whether you get into the good building or not. Because I'm also like helping with 2 first-year students, one who's staying in a completely different housing from the others, and she's struggling with how the kitchen are sometimes not clean enough because of the student who stay there are mostly exchange student, and they see that they don't really have to take care of it much since there are people coming in helping them clean from time to time, so they decide to not clean it at all. And there's also a different building where everyone keep it completely organized, very clean. Everything is like shiny and bright, and it's like a beautiful sight compared to the other one. So I don't know if I should recommend anything, since I think it depends a lot on how lucky you are and which building you will fall into. But if you do have any issue with it, I know for sure you can, again, email the international office saying that I'm having issues staying here because of this and that, and I would like to transfer to a different building. So yeah, I think that helps. That varies. So for the place that I stayed before, I shared it with 3 other exchange students. So that means that they come in and they come out every semester. For the place that where my friend is staying, he stay in a housing where he has his own room, and he share the toilet and the kitchen, also the bathroom with like approximately 8 more people. But there are like 3 different toilets, 2 bathroom and 2 separate kitchens, so it's not such a big hassle for them. Yeah. So I think it really depends.
Yeah, I think there's also an alternative there. Instead of the student apartments, there's always the dormitories that you can apply for, and those are generally those are kind of managed by the students themselves. So the students choose the people that they want to live with. So you're kind of applying for it, and you go there and you see if you have a connection with the people, and then you can, if they like you, they choose you to for this room, and then you kind of live together, and you have a shared bathroom, you have shared living room most of the time. And these type of houses, especially the international ones, you can find them on the campus, which is I think 15 minutes bike ride from Saxion. So that could be alternative.
Tilani has a question. To what extent are we being supported in professional communication skill? Wait. For me, that goes way back into the first basic professional communication skill course we have within the first year. And we go through like different scenario where, okay, you have someone to hire, you have someone to fire, you have issue where employees come to you with their own problem that they want to talk with you and need your help, or you find that there's some issue from this employees that needs to be fixed and you have to put yourself out there and talk to them. So in the first basic class, you have all those scenario, and the teacher will help you, okay, what might be helpful phrases or the agenda of a meeting in those. And so that's the first course that you have in professional communication skill. But eventually, when you have the practical skill and when you go to the third year, you'll have even more chances to actually have improve those skills like in real situations. Because we have, like as I mentioned way before, that we have this lab. Wait, that's in the third year. Sorry, in the second year we have this course in the practical quarter where you have to hire someone, and that's when you really put it into like practical context. Okay, what will actually happen in a situation like that? Because it's no longer like a recording between a teacher and an actor anymore, but you actually have people with real knowledge came in and they help you. Okay, what might be the good, I don't know, facial expression, body language, and how do you know and how do you use your intuition sometimes to see, okay, if this person is right, and you go through the whole process of it. And then in the third year, you move on to having actual meeting with actual companies. So there's a lot of practical help throughout the whole process. So I would say that's a lot of support. And if you are feeling lost anytime through in the third year, then the teachers are there as mentors and coach to help you as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and we also compared this to the other HRM programs in the Netherlands, actually, and we found actually that we're doing more. We have a stronger focus on the professional communication skills also than different comparable programs. So we're doing a little bit more in that sense than other programs, just as a comparison. Let's see.
Rwanda has a question. The pass percentage to qualify to write exams. Wait, I'm sorry, can you elaborate on the question?
I think I understand. So how many percent do you need to have at least to pass written exams? I think that's the question.
Okay.
Usually it's 55%, but that depends per different course actually. So the standard is 55%, but based on different content and different forms of the course, it can differ. Hopefully that answers your question, Luanda.
I think I can add a little bit to that, if you don't mind, because there are some. Do you know there are some exams that is only one written exams, but then oh yeah.
Sure. Let's make her presenter. Okay, so you're now presenter and you can ask your question via the mic.
Thanks, guys.
Hi.
What I meant is, yes, hi. What I meant is usually, so I have a qualification from my country already, so this is going to be my second qualification. So in order for us to write exams, we had to, so within the quarters or the terms, we had to a certain percentage to write the exam. So that would count for our attendance, or class activities, our assignments, and all those things. So I don't know if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Would you like to answer this question, Cordelia?
Yeah, sure. I don't remember there's any like qualification that you have to have in order to be able to get into the examination room, because usually we just go there and actually do an exam. There are some courses that they recommend to have like certain percentage of attendance, but I would say no. If there's an examination time, you come in there, you do your exam, and you have more above 5.5 grade, then you should pass the course. But again, of course, like there are also differences. There are some courses you only have the written exams, but there are also courses when you have project group and then you have the written exam, and there's a combination of grade between the two. So it really depends on how you pass the course, but to qualify for the written exams itself, then you just have to be there to do the exam.
Great, thank you so much. Another question very shortly. If you don't pass your exam, is there an opportunity, like a second opportunity, to have like a second exam opportunity thing?
Yes. Yeah. There are always retake possibilities. So you can if you have some students have one course that they find really difficult, and sometimes they don't make it in the first 2 tries, for instance, and then in the year after that they have 2 extra possibilities to still pass the course. So basically you have 2 possibilities per study year for every course. Hopefully that answers your question.
Yes, thank you.
I think Lucas had a question, so make him presenter.
Yeah, so my question is, in terms of job specs, are we just limited to human resource management, or can we also go on different tangents in terms of management and business? Different sectors.
What are your goals, Lucas?
Well, I'm looking to work in management or in the business sector, which is why I would apply to this course, because it's a very good like management course, but I don't just want to be limited at the end of the day to HRM, you know. I wouldn't mind going into different sectors such as hospitality even, and different levels of the business structure and organization structure.
There are because this it has a strong HRM focus, obviously, but there's also business elements to it. So that means that that you can still apply, and that's most of the time also needed if you want to go into management, Lucas. That you need further studies after a bachelor for management positions. So that means that most management positions require a master degree. So then this program is the good start, and then after that with this program you can still apply for instance a business management masters, and that's where you will get the more specific how do you say it degree that makes you able to get in these positions that you want.
Okay, thank you very much.
No problem.
Hi, Vilo. When should you apply for place to live? I think it depends on when you start to study. So here's going to be September. I would say make sure you find a place to live around the end of August already. And that's like really close to the start of the semester already. It depends on your range. Do you have a lot of money, or do you have any requirement to live close to the center, live close to school, or you don't mind you live a little bit further away? And everything changed accordingly to how you want to live. So I personally looked for like 3 months before I started living at my current apartment, and it was a huge luck to find a place to live. That is, I think it also depends like what requirements you have. I wanted to live with my friends and not a student apartment, so it was way more difficult to find. For student apartment, like we mentioned before, you will have to go to different apartments, and the students will have like some interview with you to see if you're suitable with their place. And that process may also take quite a while. So I would say take some time, around a few months, somewhere from 3 to 4 months, if you really want to make sure.
Yes. I think I have one thing to add to that, because obviously now it's difficult to get a room or get an apartment or anything due to the circumstances, the coronavirus, and all the uncertainty that it brings with it. So I can understand that there could be some, let's say, difficulties finding something. From what I've heard in my personal circle, there are a lot of people that still live in student houses, etc., and they actually at the moment they have mostly difficulties finding people. So that's the thing that it does cause this this virus. But apart from that, it also, of course, gives some some uncertainties to the extent that is it actually for you, especially if you are not from Europe, is it for you, is your country giving any restrictions to actually come here? And that can also hold you back in terms of applying for a room, I could imagine. The thing that I can say about that is that there's actually now a process going on for this study program to also be able to do the first year online. So if you're not able to come to the Netherlands, but you still want to do this program, but you have restrictions from your country that you cannot come here, we're looking into the possibilities to make the first year of this program available to follow this online, so you can stay in your home time if it's not possible to come here. And actually, that's something that's not definitive yet, but for everyone, it's maybe good to know that we're looking into this to make sure that even though this virus is out there and it's causing a lot of problems, we still want to be able to give everyone the study program that they want. Hopefully that gives also some clarification there.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Did we miss any questions?
I don't think so, at least in the chat box.
Yeah. Are there any more questions?
This is a rather difficult question. I don't know which advice I can give right now, since taking the whatever that's happened right now. It's really different from when I was applying. How do I say? If you are going to have the first year online, which I hope you won't, because being in the class will give you a way different atmosphere, and the teacher will be way more open with actually have student in front of them than talking through a screen, because I experienced that there's a lot of difference. I would just say keep an open mind and look for the best possible solutions, but also prepare for the worst case scenario where you will actually have to do the first year through online classes, and you will actually have to make friends through online classes instead of talking face to face. Just be prepared for that. Because right now, I honestly think that's the only thing I can tell.
Yeah, I would say also check with your own maybe even government what are other restrictions at the moment with regard to traveling, and what is the forecast. I know it's really difficult to predict anything in that sense, but it's good to keep updated on this to know if you will be able to go.
Is there any more question? Okay.
No questions anymore from Lucas. Simo? Okay, Simo, you're presenter now again, so you can ask your question again via the mic if you'd like.
Yes, my final question, maybe I didn't hear it. It's about the assignments and how we work in project groups. Can you tell me a little bit about that, or do we have to do the assignments by ourselves? Like how much difference is the percentage in working alone or working with your group?
Yeah, in the first year, I have quite some individual assignments. Sometimes in the following years, we also have individual assignments, but not as much. Right now, it's mainly group work, so working with other people on the same project. I think the biggest difference right now that I'm facing is that before we would meet each other at school and we have to talk it through, and okay, we divide the work. But right now, it's like sitting at home working on your own on a group project and talking with your group mate through the, I don't know, we use Team, so it depends. But yeah, mostly it's group work, and you are usually graded in group as well. And the assignments for individuals usually just reflections, or yeah, it's usually just reflections. Yeah.
Yeah, so I just put off your microphone, Simo, so just that you're aware. Don't know if you just talked, gave a response.
No, thank you. I know enough.
Okay.
It's been very helpful.
We're glad that we can help. Hopefully, this honestly really helps you to get an idea on the study program. And
Yes, I already.
Sorry.
Yes, I already applied already. So
that's nice.
yeah, yes. I already did it with the Dutch course, so I canceled that and I immediately applied for the international one. So I'm ready. So
nice. That's great to hear. We're looking forward to seeing you next year.
I hope so too. Now, thank you for the conversations. I'll be off. Have a nice day.
Yeah. Have a nice day too.
Have a nice day.
Bye-bye.
I think if no one have any extra question, maybe we can start closing the meeting.
Yeah. So if there's any last questions that you would like to ask, this is the moment, because this session closes at 2.
And if there's any question that you may have afterwards, you can always go to intosaxion.nl, which is a site where students will give you answers directly without going through any teachers. You can also email the Student International Office. Yeah, you can already post the links. Yeah. And yeah, if you have any more questions, please go there, because I think we only have 1 minute left. Yeah. Just thank you all for being here today.
Yes. I agree with you, Joost. It's a little bit weird, but it's really nice to see that there are so many people interested and so many people asking great questions. And that also helps to make it less weird, actually. So also hats off to you guys. Nice. Great to hear that.
Looking forward.
Okay, then that was it. Again, thank you very much for attending, for the nice questions, and hopefully see you next study year.
Thank you
Goodbye.
all. Have a nice day.